All right, David. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Getting through another week. Week where maybe there's a glimmer of hope, some excitement brewing in Miami Gardens. Although it would have been a lot nicer if they just get to 500 at 3-3 before Tua's return. But now 2-4 is what it is, and see if Tua can
Back,
get this turned around.
backs against the wall. So
Yeah,
let's have some fun. Let's have some fun here. You sit through all his press conferences. Mike McDaniel. I'm sorry. I picked up the Steve Calabro disease. McDaniel's.
Or when you do the McDaniel apostrophe S, his press conference, McDaniel's press conference.
Press conferences.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, you can do it.
that's true. That's two. That's two. All right. So let me ask you, how many ums and ahs do you think he has in one press conference? If you had to take a guess, since a person that sits through them, what's the average ums and ahs in a Mike McDaniel press conference? Give me a number.
Is this what you guys are talking about on the show on this Thursday afternoon? What you guys?
We had a contest last week where we're going to give away tomorrow. We're going to announce the winner, but we have the total already. And you had to send in how many ums and ahs does Mike McDaniel have in a week of press conferences. So that's 4 of them, 3 during the week and 1 post game. So I ask you now, all right, because now we have the total and we can then, formulate the average per press conference. What do you think he averages per press conference in ums and ahs?
Jeez, so you said you had some data already, but it's
Well, yeah, we've got the data, bro. We did it all last week. And we counted all his ums and ahs in all 4 press conferences. Well, somebody won 9 shirts and a hat on the show. So 9 different Big O Show shirts and a hat that we're sending them.
Yeah.
So that we're sending a nice big fat ass package to somebody that can name that. So whoever got it, I don't know who it is, but they're whoever either hit it or got close to it ends up being the winner. So you tell me. What do you think he averages per press conference?
You need me to give you a number. You need me to give.
Yes. There's no fence straddling here, bro.
Come on, Furones, spit it out. You got the number right there in your head.
It is 12.
Are you listening to the press conference?
Yeah, come on, bro.
I had to sit through each one of those videos.
I'm not listening for I'm listening for what I could use.
Seriously, now, come on. Have some cojones. Come on.
He's in the facility.
Seriously, come on. Just give me a realistic number. You know it's not 12.
Oh yeah, because it's got to be lower, right?
Come on. No, a real number. Come on.
That's the way to do it. Good.
Yeah, come on.
Just all right. What is it like around 30 something?
Okay, there you go. 119. He did 478 ums and ahs in 4 press conferences. Never ever play a drinking game.
You guys are probably counting like every little thing. Like I just did one right there, just thinking of.
We're calling every ums and ahs. Every ums and ah.
But sometimes you just say like I might go with the and then say the next word quickly, but it's not like a true like I'm still thinking,
Right. That's you. You're normal. That's me. I'm normal. That's Sean. He's normal. Mike McDaniel, well, that's a whole different ball game. He doesn't really talk smoothly. He doesn't talk with a train of thought that just flows. There is no flow in the show. You know what I'm saying?
In more ways than one.
Yes.
There's no flow.
Yeah, there's a lot of ums and ahs in that offense also. Yes. Touche to you, sir.
Oh, I was making reference to the Dolphins' previous head coach.
Oh yeah, no, but this offense too.
There's a lot of flows that are.
Yeah. What do you got, Sean?
No, I was gonna say, Furones, the October 14th press conference. It was 25 and a half minutes long. If you would have took out the 195 ums and ahs, you guys probably could have been out in 15 minutes.
I will say a lot of the answers, and us in the media, we discuss it amongst ourselves. Is to us, we think, okay, is it filibustering? He's just taking up.
He's thinking. He's just thinking and trying to craft it in his mind
Yeah.
and deliver it to you guys.
Well,
The sad part is he's 3 years in and he hasn't figured out that you guys are going to ask him the same freaking questions, because I've been doing this for 34 years and pretty much the same shit happens over and over again, and the same scenarios pretty much happen. You'll have your outliers, that'll happen, freakish things, and then you'll have to deal with that. But more often than not, all the injuries are the same. Everything's the same. You just kind of have to know how to flow and send it out. And he has no idea how to just deliver and say, hey, OBJ will be back when we can get him on the field and he can practice completely. And then we feel comfortable and we'll activate him. All right, guys, that's what we got. Well, if OBJ feels all right and we can get him a few plays here or there, and it's because he's got to feel good about himself and everything in the playbook, and he's got to be and he starts thinking and going in all kinds of directions, and he just thinks too much and he just doesn't flow and just say what's on his mind. It's bad.
Well, so my theory on it is that he's a smart guy. So he's
super.
got a lot of right. He's got a lot of thoughts coming in.
Yeah.
The thoughts are going at a faster rate than he can talk and communicate them.
Yeah.
So it's like he hasn't yet gotten one thought out while the other thought is already coming in. So then now it's like interrupting the speaking, the communication of that first thought. And he's also he's trying to give us, which I give him credit for this, is he's trying to give us the best answer to the question that he can. And so as he's saying one thing, then he comes up with a better way to say it. So like he interrupts that first part to then start saying it another way, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Right.
Dude,
Mhm.
this is what, just because you're smart, and he is super smart, but just because you're smart doesn't mean you're great at delivering a message. Doesn't mean that you can stand there in front of a podium and control an environment the way you're supposed to control it, right? And you see it sometimes with presidents, right? You watch Ronald Reagan run it one way, Obama run it another way, and then you watch Trump, and it's completely different than all the other people. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way of doing things. Some people know how to do it, others don't. And it doesn't mean that he is dumb or he's bad at it or whatever, but he is bad at this. Unfortunately, this is not his thing, and he's so smart that this is probably boring to him, is what it is.
Mhm.
He'd rather be inside a dark room figuring out shit and trying to decipher this, that, and create plays. And I bet he flows a lot better when he's on the field talking to his players, because he has a comfort zone there that he doesn't have with you guys. With you guys in the public, he has to feel like he has to watch every word, and it sounds like he's watching every word. And that's the problem. On the field, he probably doesn't watch what he says, and he can just flow.
Right. And we saw from Hard Knocks last year, the way he talks, that he's dropping all these F-bombs. So you learned how he normally talks, and obviously he has to temper that down a little bit. But I don't know I don't think it's because that a lot of F-bombs are coming into his head that he wants to, and then he's got to stop himself. I don't think it's that. But you do see just the natural way that he talks when you the show kind of revealed that.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. Dude, I did radio for 30 years. And I speak with F-bombs all the time off the air. I could do it now on this show, but I mean, and I don't overdo it here on this show, but I've for 30 years I didn't say any bad words. I think they might have had to dump me twice for the word shit or something, twice maybe in 30 years. So there's a discipline to all of that. That's easy. It's just, again, I don't think he's good at this. That's all it is. I don't think he's good at working a podium. I don't think he's good at that. He might even struggle when he's in front of the team and trying to explain kind of stuff. to them in plays. He might struggle in that area on the one-on-ones on the field and all like that, and quick things like that. I bet he's flowing. But in those kind of settings, it kind of looks like that's not his thing. And that's DeSantis. Did you see him when he had to like show his personality? He had none.
Oh.
He was like a robot. It's not his thing. It's not his thing. It's not the way. It's not his strength. You know what I'm saying? There's just some people are like that. Some can do it and some can't. And they're trying to do their job anyway. But this public speaking stuff comes with the job. And some people are good at it. Joe Philbin was not good at it. He was terrible at communicating. Adam Gase at times was also, bad at it. Flo wasn't good at it either.
Right.
It was a different way. It wasn't ums and ahs. It wasn't thinking, but it was more of a dick kind of way of doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, it just.
I will say that I think the public speaking where Mike McDaniel does thrive in is when he is presenting to the team something, because I've sort of got an idea of him in this sense, and some of it was also on Hard Knocks. I do think he does well when it's a structured environment like this. He gets time to prepare his presentation of like this week's theme or how they're going to attack, or just coach talk, just coaching on certain strategies and game planning to the team. But now press conference is a different type where you are reacting to questions that come in. Now you do prepare yourself. You have an idea of what questions you're going to face, but it is a different type of communication where it's not just all you and your presentation.
Right.
It is reactive. There is an interactive sense to it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So now So if you want to make any bets, that 119 is the over and under. He'll go over, rarely go under. So you can, maybe make a little money there in the media room. Okay, so I'm just kind of helping you out there, bro. I'm just saying, a lot of people won't imagine that he'll average around 119 or more per and he did 194 and one. I mean, that's golden right there, dude. That is golden right there. What are you gonna say?
Furones, the next time you're sitting there, you're gonna start counting them. Watch.
Now I know I won't be able to stop.
Yeah. All right, so what are we getting, bro? Tua's all excited. Tyreek is all excited. I hope his hands are also excited to hold on to the footballs, too, at the same time, because every time I see him talk a lot of crap, it's never really a good thing with Tyreek. So talk to me about the vibe in the room right now with Tua back.
Oh, well, the vibe is a sense of that now the Dolphins and their offense have their leader that can help right this ship, and that it won't be the way it has been the past 4 weeks with all these different quarterbacks, these 3 backup quarterbacks getting playing time, and the offense not running smoothly and averaging 10 points per game, and being last in scoring offense this year after it was number 2 in that category last year, number 1 in total offense last year. Then now it'll be closer to that. So Dolphins fans and for everyone out there, then hopefully everyone is correct. And I think there will be some rustiness, some rust factor to Tua's first game back. I think we saw it last year or 2 years ago when he had that first game back against Pittsburgh, a Sunday night football game. He missed some throws, had all those near interceptions, even though none of them were actually picked off. But I think you'll see some rust, but then you'll just see greater operation of the offense. You'll see him, the timing in the offense, the accuracy, delivering balls to Tua or to Tyreek and to Jalen Waddle. So I think all those things we'll see improvements in, but still obviously not to the level of Tua when he's really in a flow and rhythm, like peak Tua in the past couple seasons when he's really going. So I think it'll still be a sort of a get your feet wet, get back into the flow of things game.
Is OBJ going to play?
I mean, he'll play. Now, does he make a catch? With Tua,
he'll make a catch, but I know he he tweaked like a hammy or something. So I'm not.
Oh, did he pop up on? Well, he popped up on last week's injury
Yeah.
report,
So
right?
I just
And
want to
then he
make
did
sure.
play,
Yeah, he
right?
did play. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
But then I think he wasn't on this week's. Yeah, he didn't show up on this week. So I guess it was just a very minor tweak, and then was able to play and isn't even on for it. Then, yeah, whenever a player even gets treatment on a muscle, then they have to include it. So, yeah, maybe it was just like tightening up, and he wanted to get some treatment, and they had to include it. The team had to report it per NFL rules.
So what'd you think of him not wanting to wear the Guardian cap? Because I think he should. I mean, if Achan's willing to wear, it's almost like he's doing it to be defiant, or to. It's like he's got this Napoleon complex. Like he wants to prove like he's Mr. Tough Guy, like he wanted to prove like he's Mr. Football Player, and he's not at this level. Which he did kind of indicate that. Like it used to be my weapon at in college and in high school, but here at the highest level, he kind of indicated it in the press conference, which I credit him at least. That it looks like maybe he's starting to realize, like, dude, just live in the pocket, bro. Just live in the freaking pocket, and that's it. And you can live forever if you live in the pocket. But if you want to go out and get crazy, go ahead. And your life is going to be short in the NFL. So your thoughts on him not wearing the Guardian cap?
Yeah, if I were him, I would wear it. Just a concussion history and the instances in which it has happened, where it's not a lot of plays where there's been huge hits. Definitely the one in Cincinnati when he got slammed. That was one that you would consider really like a takedown and a big blow to the head. But some of these, like Matt Milano, it was Milano, right, pushing him back, and then he hits the back of his head. It didn't seem that egregious to be stumbling. Granted, that one they said wasn't a concussion, but the one where he's rolling out against Green Bay, I know, but I'm still counting it. I am myself, and
Of
so
course,
should a lot of people.
concussion, bro. But it proved, by the way, that's the game that proves what happened. That he would have been able to easily play in Seattle, and that's why he made the trip. While he does get concussed, he recovers quickly.
Yeah, although the Green Bay one at the end of 2022, he went the whole month of January after it occurred on Christmas, still in concussion protocol. So that was like more than a month of recovery time. Now, granted, he hasn't cleared protocol yet for this one because he hasn't been able to practice until just yesterday. And maybe we see when the injury report comes out momentarily that I would assume he had an uptick into full practice from his limited first session. We'll find out for sure. And maybe that occurs Friday. But yeah, I mean, to be symptom free the very next day after what was a scary sight in the fencing position, then yeah, it does say something about his recovery. But the Dolphins, they drove their decision in putting him on IR based on that medical experts said he needs time regardless. So now I brought up the issue of IR, and maybe they could have had him for the Colts game. If I don't know if in general, yes, time was needed, but it was the difference from 38 days between games to 45 days so pivotal? That would be my question in that. Or was it just like it was going to be they wanted to keep him out for several games anyway, and once you keep him out 3 and there's the bye week, you might as well put him on IR for one game. Maybe that was their thought process.
Optics. Come on, bro. It was all
There's that
optics.
aspect too.
Yeah, come on. Protect the player from himself. Protect the league by saying, hey, we did our part. We gave him rest. We gave him time to recover. Now he chose to go back out on the field. This is the league. This is the team. This is the money people behind the scenes. Without Tua, this has nothing to do with Tua. This is the league and the team and the owner and everybody having their secret conversations together saying, hey, how are we going to cover our asses? What do you think is going on with Brian Flores, bro? Why do you think Brian Flores has a job in this league? He's suing the NFL, but the NFL allowed him to get a job. Why? Because when the NFL is in court, they can say, what are you talking about, racism? Racism? In Miami, there's no racism. He can sue us, but he's still working. What are you talking about, racism? They covered their ass. And the NFL and the Dolphins have now covered their ass. This is the guy that is now the poster child of concussions, and he knows it. By the way, somebody tell him that he's all. I'll explain that in a second. But now you see, he's the poster child of this all. This is the way it is for him. So the league has to say, and the team has to say, okay, this crazy some bitch is going to keep playing. All right, so we're already in court for these kind of things. Let's protect ourselves. Our doctors are going to give him the clearance. When they give him the clearance, we're going to give him time to recover. So we did the proper things on the optics side. If he goes and gets concussed again, it's on him. He chose to play. He chose not to wear the Guardian cap. Notice how twice Mike McDaniel told you in that press conference, that's a good question for Tua. That's a good question for Tua. He said it twice. Go ask him. Go put the burden on him. Don't put the burden on Mike McDaniel. Don't put the burden on the Miami Dolphins. Don't put the burden on the NFL. Go ask him. Oh, hey, Brian Flores, you say there's racism. Where is it? Miami has all kinds of minorities working. The Vikings have hired you. I don't know what you're talking about. You've gone for interviews for head coach. I don't know what you're talking about. So the league does all the stuff now to cover their ass. And that's what's going on here. Now, the other thing that I want Tua to know that he's full of shit, okay? Because he said, well, we don't look at boxers and we don't look at hockey players. Yes, we do, bro. Before you was Eric Lindros. Before you was Steve Young. Before you was Muhammad Ali, because we all talked about his Parkinson's from the rope-a-dope. Because, of course, you might be young and you don't know what the rope-a-dope is, but he used to have fun and used to bring people into the corner and let him hit them. Right. And then he'd just tire you out and then just put your ass out to sleep. But that rope-a-dope stuff cost him Parkinson's probably. Evander Holyfield, go watch interviews of a young Evander Holyfield and then go watch interviews of an old Evander Holyfield and 20 years after boxing and see who's punch drunk. You know what I'm saying? So when he started throwing that shit out, I was like, bro, you're a kid. You're 25 years old. You have no concept. You have no history of sports. You don't know anything, bro. You don't even have the internet in your phone, right? You don't follow anything, right? So how do you even know the history of sports? I forgot more of the history when I was 15 years old than TUA Tagovailoa will ever know. So, there's been lots of poster childs. He's just the latest one now. You know what I mean? So somebody needs to refresh in his ass about that. We've been talking about this for decades, bro. Decades we've been talking about this. Before it was all a thing, we were talking about, bro, what happened to Muhammad Ali? What happened to other guys, Steve Young, all that. Before the league admitted it, we were talking about it for a long time, dude. So, and by the way, Sidney Crosby is sitting there as a perfect example. A 20-year career, just signed a 2-year extension. He had more concussions than Tua at the beginning of his career.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Go look it up. I think it's like 6 or 7. 6 or 7. What's that called? Documented
concussions. Right.
Okay.
That's a key word with Tua too. Is that it's 3 documented concussions.
It's really 4. It's really 4 that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
That we know of, just like the 7 we know of for Sidney Crosby, or 6, whatever it is. There's probably a few. It's hockey, bro. There's probably a few more. You know what I'm saying? It's and so it just that's the part that I thought was very very ignorant on his part, and it showed his youth when he thought like, oh, I'm the guy that started this. No, bro, you didn't start this fire. This fire was started a long time ago. You're just another link to this story. Is what it is, unfortunately. But I just think that it's interesting how this is viewed, and I think it's sad that he. And by the way, by him not wearing the Guardian cap, also tells you, will he truly protect himself?
It's a fair question. And I would wear the Guardian cap if I were him. Research says it could increase your head's ability to sustain these hits. It could minimize concussions by 10%. I would think that's just. I mean, any percentages you can add on to it. He already is going with that different helmet for quarterbacks that came out another year back ahead of the 2023 season. So that helmet helps. I mean, even if that helmet provides the same boost, then why not just Guardian cap over that helmet? Then you're really getting extra protection, and probably maybe for some guys now, like Devon Achane, I was asking him after he wore it just on Sunday in Indianapolis. He said it felt comfortable for him, and he's a running back, and he's an even smaller guy who maybe that bigger thing on your head, especially a speedster like him, maybe it could hinder you and like weigh you down. I don't know how much it weighs. I think it's pretty light, but yeah, exactly. And I mean, guys practice in it on the practice field all the time, so they're actually used to using it. So. I would say, yeah. I was hoping Tua would wear it, but then he just attributed to personal choice. And you're right as far as liability now. And yeah, I mean NFL and the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. Now, granted, of course, the league could like mandate if someone has had certain number of concussions, say, hey, you want to continue, you got to wear the Guardian cap. Maybe eventually
that's got to be negotiated.
Right, that would have to be negotiated
through the NFLPA.
Right.
If
they
the
can't do
NFLPA,
that now.
the NFLPA has to approve it, and then the NFLPA has to have the meeting with their players and say, "Hey, when we agree to this, that means everybody has agreed to this, and there cannot be anybody. You can be fined or whatever because they're going to have the freedom of being able to fine you or maybe not even play you because medically they can say, well, we're not going to clear you if you're not going to wear the cap." You know what I'm saying? And that we're a long ways away from that, bro.
Yeah,
long ways away from that. This has to be, it's all by choice. And they've told you that over and over and over again. Everybody, is he going to retire? Bro, it's up to him to retire. They have no control. They can't push his ass out. And they got to know now in the building that they can't trust him anymore. That's the worst part.
Well, and I'm with him on the choice to continue to play because, I mean, this is someone's livelihood. Like, he lives for this game. So, it's what he's done growing up, just a love for the game. He's not, especially a concussion where he was symptom-free the very next day. You're not going to convince him that he's got to retire when he felt symptom-free that next day. So, with him on that, I really don't love it when people always have all those opinions about it. But especially with what he wants to do with his personal life. And this is another personal choice, but I think this is just a reasonable expectation. Just, hey, yeah, we don't have to take the game away from you. Just use this tool that could help you prevent concussions a little bit more, just that 10%. Maybe you don't get concussed when you ram into Damar Hamlin. Now, also, he's got to do his own thing, like slide in those cases, or that play he could have dove to the ground, still make sure you get a first down, but you dive downward instead of
the interception
through a player.
The interception that he throws for pick six, you're throwing it in the face of a behemoth that's about to land on you. Dude, cradle your ass into a ball and take the sack, dude. Take the sack. You opened yourself up in your body throwing, which you then can't throw over to the out of bounds. So now you threw a pick six and you put your body in a position to be absolutely crushed. Why? Because this is, I stand in the middle of what you guys are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because I'm the one that said when everybody wanted him to quit the first time, I'm the one that said, no, bro, no. He doesn't have to quit. What he has to do is learn how to get rid of the football. And I explained all his injuries were all between 3.85 and 5.1 seconds. I timed them all. His hip, his two ankles, the two concussions at that moment. I didn't add the third one with Buffalo because it wasn't one, so I didn't add it. Plus, that one wasn't actually about time because that one was just like a push that put him out of balance and it made him hit his head back, right? So that's different. But the other five that are injuries in his career were all between 3.85 and 5.1 second. I timed them all, okay? And I explained to everybody, all he has to do is learn how to get rid of the ball. What did he do the next year? He learned how to get rid of the football, and he lived fine because that's how Breeze did it. That's how Manning did it. That's how Brady did. None of those guys can run. None of those guys take on tacklers. None of those guys are trying to be athletes because they're not, and neither is he. You got to learn to live in the pocket. Well, okay, so now you want to go run into people, and now you want to do stupid shit. That's when I say, yeah, you got to retire, bro. You got to retire. If you're going to play like Josh Allen, you need to retire because they're going to retire you anyway, dude. And they're going to retire you, and you're going to be all effed up, and you're not going to remember your family, and you're not going to remember your name, and you can't remember to get home like Jim McMahon because you're young, but Jim McMahon played like a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a quarterback, and he played like a linebacker, and he was bigger and stronger and tougher. Not tougher in the sense that his body could take more punishment than Tua Tagovailoa's body could ever. And he ended up with CTE and dementia and all that kind of shit. And Jim McMahon now, sadly, is having a brutal end to his life. And so that's where I'm at with Tua. Okay, do you want to play smart? Dude, then play for the rest of your career. You can play 15 plus years like all these other statues that played. Marino couldn't run. Do you think Marino was chasing anybody after he threw an interception? No. Do you think Marino was taking on tacklers? No. Do you think Marino was trying to outrun anybody? No, dude. He was sidestepping, trying to buy himself just a flip of a second just so he can get the ball off, and that's it. That's all he ever did, and he played forever. This guy can do the same thing, so it's really up to him. If you want to play stupid, then I suggest you retire now. So that way you can, have a family and enjoy your family for the rest of your life. Now, if you want to play smart, then yeah, stay in the football. That's my message to him because I already declared it the first time around. Play smart, you can play forever.
Yeah.
You want to play stupid, I know how this story ends, dude. I've seen it with many other players. I'm old. I've watched this. I know how it ends. And I know how it ends for people like you that are small and tiny, and you think you can, go out there and take the pounding. So that's where, the Dolphins have to try to get a quarterback next year, no matter what. No matter what. They have no choice. They can win the Super Bowl, and they still have to go get a quarterback.
Yeah. Now, when you say that, are you saying like a quarterback to be your number one, or are you just saying like a top flight backup?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about you better get yourself a quarterback that has the potential of starting because he's going to start. So don't get a backup. What does a backup do, bro?
But a high end backup that would suffice when he has to start 4 games because Tua goes on IR. Or
that's not. You need to find a starter. That's what a responsible franchise does right now. You don't have a long-term starter anymore.
Well, the Dolphins already have their money, but they have their money tied up into their long-term.
I don't know, but you better find one in the draft that you like, either at the top of the draft and you trade up for him, or in the middle rounds, in the second, third round, that you say, okay, this guy's a project, but we can work with him for the next couple of years. And by the way, look at the Green Bay Packers. They drafted and stewed and simmered Aaron Rodgers, and it worked out. Then they bought and simmered and stewed Jordan Love for a while, and it worked out. It's not the worst thing to go out and get a guy that you think has the potential to start, okay? And just in case Tua goes down, you are ready for something moving forward. If you're going to get a Band-Aid, bro, a Band-Aid means that you still got to go get another guy again. So you got to, if there's somebody in the draft you like, obviously, you got to like them too. But if you can get somebody, that's the responsible thing you do, because from here on out, you can't trust Tua.
Or like the Falcons went ahead and drafted Michael Penix, even though they just gave Kirk Cousins a big contract to come on over.
I just told you, maybe they looked at what Green Bay did and said,
Green Bay with Jordan Love.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It worked for both. It's worked fine for them. So maybe it's like, yo, dude, maybe this isn't the worst thing in the world. That we give the kid some time. He gets to watch a pro for a couple of years. His body develops. His mind develops. We give him some games. We give him some time in blowouts. He dominates the entire preseason. All those kind of things. Matt Hasselbeck. Oh, by the way, nobody talks about this, but Matt Hasselbeck also did the same thing in Green Bay. Can you look it up for me? I want to say Matt Hasselbeck was the stud of the NFL for 2 years in the preseason, and he had monster preseasons. Then he filled in for Favre when he was out, and then
Favre wasn't out. Favre would never miss a game.
No, not Favre, like blowouts and stuff.
End of a game, yeah.
So Hasselbeck would come in, and if I remember correctly, if my mind is right, I believe Hasselbeck did that for like 2 years in Green Bay, and they ended up trading him for a first rounder to Seattle. So they also drafted,
Holmgren connection,
stewed and brewed him, and then sent him off, and he became a really good quarterback for Seattle. That they got to the Super Bowl. Matt Hasselbeck was an excellent quarterback, overall in the NFL. I'm not going to say a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to say great one, but dude, he's more than good enough to win a Super Bowl. Put it that way. That's Matt Hasselbeck is more than good enough to win a Super Bowl with if your team is good. So they also developed him. And Seattle and Holmgren took him over, and the rest is history. So it's not the worst thing in the world. While we're all laughing at Atlanta, maybe they might have the last laugh, because maybe that's the way you should go back to doing these things.
Yeah, I would say Plan A would be that. Well, in hopes that Tua comes back and gets you into a better position than what it is right now. Whether it's you do end up making the playoffs, that would be fantastic, or you win more games, but you just barely end up out of it because of this bad start. It kind of just puts you in too deep of a hole. Whatever the case may be, if Tua shows, all right, yeah, he's still obviously the man to run the offense, then maybe you do invest in a high-end backup in the future, which it could be like a Jimmy Garoppolo for this offense with his knowledge of it, that he you put that face on, but I mean he would work really well in the offense.
I know, but it's a Band-Aid, and I've seen the choker in the big moments already, bro. It's like I'm tired of watching his ass choke in big moments, and he's very injury prone. I'm thinking different than you. I'm thinking a young developmental kid that has potential to be a starter, a real star. I'm not you're thinking Band-Aid, bro. You're thinking Band-Aid. You and I are thinking a little different.
Well, I would just say that's Plan A, but then with still an eye out for the draft, and if there is, and by the way, we just got the injury report, and Tua did in fact increase his participation to full, and Tyreek Hill popped up with a foot injury as well. He was limited today, so we won't know the extent.
He might be better off never talking shit. Every time he talks shit.
Oh, boy, you were just saying it, huh?
He never lives up to it. Yeah, every time he talks shit, he never lives up to it. I'm going to be the Kansas City Chiefs nightmare and all that. Yeah, you were a nightmare for your own team. So, yeah, it just happens all the time. But strike the band. We're all back, bro. Have you been watching your play? Come on, man. Just pipe down. Come on, let's go. Start actually like accomplishing things, and then maybe you can start talking. Beat some teams and start like coming through in the clutch and beat real quality teams. Come on, man. I don't know. I'd rather him not talk much. You know what I'm saying?
I would say, sorry, you were going to finish out that.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I got distracted by the injury report popping up, but I would say that's my Plan A, but with an eye toward the draft, and then that where if you do have a guy that you really like and you want to go ahead, bring him in. He's as long as Tua is healthy for the duration of this contract, he's your guy. But then in the event of another injury, he could be that guy, and then he could be someone that you develop for that point once Tua is. If indeed it's only this contract and he doesn't see another one with the Dolphins, then that I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if this year, going into this draft, if the Dolphins, let's say, are in a position where they could draft a guy of that caliber and they really like him, then maybe so.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you have to do it, bro. You have to do it. You have the injury report. How bad is the secondary?
Well, again, no Storm Duck and no Cater Kohu. We did see that from the practice viewing. We didn't see either one of them. So now I actually just wrote about this. Is Cam Smith going to come up and be that cornerback, right? Is it Cam Smith time if Jalen Ramsey moves inside and nickel packages and Cam Smith on the boundary? Anthony Weaver even mentioned him in playing the slot as one of the options there, along with maybe Javon Holland, assuming he returns this week in 3 safety sets. He could come down and play that. So some options there. So maybe Cam Smith, first week back off IR, ends up playing a pivotal role with 2 cornerbacks ailing right now.
All right. What do you got? You got them winning?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to say Dolphins 23, Cardinals 17. It's a have-to-have-it game for the Dolphins. You can't fall to 2-5 when you're going to Buffalo next. So I got them winning. I got the defense doing all right. Maybe James Conner touches up this run defense a little bit, but I like the defense to keep the score low. Tua fights off some rustiness, but has some moments. And Dolphins actually have their highest scoring game. 23 points would be their highest scoring output so far this season. And 1 o'clock kickoff at home. The Cardinals are on a short week. They just played on Monday night. They have the long travel going west to east for what's an early kickoff to them, 10 a.m. For their time zone. I like the Dolphins to take care of business at home.
And you're taking care of business because Bitcoin just crossed 68,000 during your conversation. So nice job by you, sir. Nice job by you. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and make sure you follow him on Twitter there and subscribe at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Welt and Rheaume. Call Jeff Welt. Daniel Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. So many of you are dealing with stuff with Milton and Helene. So if you've got the insurance companies that they are, screwing around and they're dragging their feet and they're not responding, you call Welt and Rheaume. In fact, you should never call the insurance companies when something happens to you. You call Welt and Rheaume first. They send their adjusters, and then they attack the insurance company for you. It's a beautiful thing. 954-966-4646. Consultation is completely free. Welt and Rheaume.
This is the Big O Show.